style, which means I'm live feeding this and simultaneously recording this. I've been watching a couple of the past videos. Looks like there's quite some choppiness in the recordings. I don't know why that's happening, but it's definitely happening. I watched a video myself, really wanted to critique and self-evaluate myself, try to bring me down more and more levels if possible, looking for flaws, defects in character, speech, acquisition, whatever that means, trying to do all that. I'm trying to focus on all this. So I was watching the video today that I did yesterday, and then I've seen in the other ones too, self-critiquing those to an extreme, that there's a massive choppiness to it. There's constant delays. My eyes freeze for a second. The speech doesn't seems to come across good. So this whole little shindig I got seems to be working just fine, but the video feed's definitely on a delay. Don't know why. I'm plugged straight into the Ethernet, as they say. So I should be fast streaming, but I'm not. So I'm going to live stream this just in case anybody comes on, which they won't. But if anybody does, it's live stream. I can catch that when I get these little oops connection errors, which you're going to see in the video because the recording blip is catching that little thing above me, which I hope, come on, go away. Hope that goes away soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to just take it away, but that's okay. So, okay, well, it's not. So let's just get it out of there and let's get rolling. So today I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Parker. Again, Drew, Parker, Jenna, these special characters in my life, just such a good additive. Drew, please come back from Palm Springs. It's not worth it there. The sun, the poolside, it looks like you're having fun, but we know what Instagram's all about. It's fake. Your family's faking it. Everybody's smiling, but you probably just had a tantrum, threw over a beach chair 5 minutes earlier, and then you're like, hey, Tiffany, kids, freeze frame, we're happy as heck. No, you're not. Get back home, get on your computer, and let's get this started. Anyway, moving on, talking to a buddy of Parker of mine. Talking to a buddy, Parker, there's a comma there, comma after his name, and we were discussing some of the inner workings of the conversation the other day about the puzzle piece, about the truthfulness, okay? And this starts, I want to give like a stepping process that I have yet to complete, but I am definitely capable of telling people to do it, obviously. Because if you haven't accomplished it, you become the position that tells people how to accomplish it. That's at least what it seems like in professional sports, and all those other shindigs, maybe TV producing. I don't know, I'm not in that industry, but that's what it seems like. You don't know, you can't do it, tell people how to do it. So one of the critical steps in personal growth, personal development, getting to a life lived off, solid, sound, spiritual, healthy, life force principles is the honesty thing that we've talked about. This comes down to correcting the commitments that we make to ourselves and others. So there's a lot of situations where we make commitments to ourselves. And I'm just going to give an example of one. Because you know what? This is all about throwing mi casa, that I think that means my house. So I'll just say myself under the bus, okay? Boom. Slam that thing on me like the witch and Dorothy. Wicked Witch of the East, I believe, is the one who got the house smashed on her. So when we do things, like when we tell ourselves we're going to do something at a certain time or a certain task, and we don't follow through on that, this creates disharmony internally. We've literally let ourselves down. Okay, this is an honesty component that most people don't think of. I didn't even consider it before, but it actually has such strong implications to how we then we live up to external commitments. And an internal equipment, back to an example of me, is I might say to myself, hey, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning at X time and I'm going to take the dog on a bike ride. Now, let's say the buzzer goes off at X time early in the morning, and I decide at that point, I'm too tired. I'm tired. I'm not going to do it. I'll do it later in the day. I'll get to it eventually. Maybe I'll just sleep in an extra hour and then I'll go out. Okay, hit snooze, shut the alarm off, whatever you do. I've done this plenty of times, still do it. Okay, it's a disaster. So when those things happen, and when we don't follow through on what we told ourselves we would follow through, we have let ourselves down. And then some things occur from this. Maybe they don't for you, but most people, there's two things that go on. There's an anger towards self for not living up to what you said you were going to do. And then there's a remorseful against oneself for feeling sad that you couldn't accomplish what you said you would. And those two things start to be portrayed in the external environment that we live in. We have to start following these things, even if we're not in the mood. If we say we're going to come home from work and we're going to hit the gym, well, then we better hit the gym. Now, understand life gets in the way, and maybe there are circumstances that won't allow that to happen. But a majority of the time, we find reasons to not make these things happen. We find excuses, validating ourselves for not following through. Therefore, we have lied to ourselves. We have literally lied and let ourselves down. And this becomes habitual in all the areas of our life. So if we say we're going to meet someone somewhere and then we're 10, 20 minutes late, okay, that's a letdown. We had a commitment. You know what I mean? Again, circumstantial situations may lead to changes in plans or agendas, but that's where we have to find those lines. Where are we changing things because we can't do it anymore, or something literally is disturbing the process of getting that done? And where have we just not followed through because we got distracted or we put too many things in our agenda that day, couldn't get to it? And nobody's going to be perfect. I'm definitely not perfect at all. Never will be. So there's grace there, there's compassion, there's tolerance. But when we say we're going to do something, we say, okay, this year I'm going to read 10 books. We need to read 10 books. That's a commitment we just told ourselves we do. This year or this month, I'm going to eat a salad with dinner every night. Okay, you said it. Eat a salad with dinner every night. Okay, follow through on your own personal commitments. That is a big stepping stone to start organizing your external life, is when your internal conversations are honest with yourselves, are honest with who you're trying to be, what you're trying to accomplish. That is a huge movement towards thinking more clearly, being more decisive, directing your steps in a more honest, authentic way. And I'll always bring it back to that. Honest and authenticity are the two things that are going to benefit the people around you the most. Obviously, I've talked about all the social medias that I'm a part of. Okay. I don't really participate that much. I've thrown a little few things out there trying to be funny, trying to be quirky. Did it stick? Yeah, maybe for one or two individuals. But when you look at these things, you notice how there's a lot of discontent. There's a lot of divisional processes going on where one side thinks the other side's doing things completely wrong. Another side thinks the other side's completely off the mark. And this comes down to personal decisions, personal house cleaning. If we are not living up to these standards, if we are not following the commitments we've told ourselves, the commitments that we're making to our friends. Okay. If we're not working on those puzzle pieces, on that way of finding ourselves, putting the puzzle, abandoning ourselves to worldly goals and opportunities and self seeking professorial. I just like that word. Again, not a word that I know of, but professorial. I'll look it up later, or you look it up now, whatever. Again, throw it in the comments. There's that thing again. Oops. I don't understand. I'm connected to the Ethernet. Come on. Come on, technology. We've put a man on the moon. Okay. We have satellites circling the earth, and I can't get a Thunderbolt cable on this MacBook to give me a proper Ethernet connection. And I live in an urbanized area with high speed 5G potentially. Okay. 5 gamma ray technology, as they call it in the advanced IT world. So that's where we have come to this brink where people are constantly picking at another person for the problems they have. They're constantly prodding and searching for the reasons that another person is making a mistake. Okay. How they're doing things wrong, how they're just not, which is impossible. Okay. Not any person is doing everything wrong. Everything. But if you go through Twitter and, you know, you're going to find this context of language where it points the finger as if somebody else is doing everything wrong. And that just, in my mind, that just can't be true. I just can't wrap my head around somebody doing everything wrong. Okay. But again, this comes down to our individual growth and development. That's the only thing that's really going to start strengthening. If you see these excessive judgments on other people doing things wrong, well, that person, I mean, man, these judgments don't externalize unless there's a boatload of internal judgments. And that's where you see people who seem like they understand things, who seem like they got things going on, and then phew, you hear them or you see them or you have a feed from them that basically just has a fire hose on other individuals with what they aren't doing right. There's got to be some internal work that needs to be done there. If that judgment is bleeding from you, well, man, there's definitely judgment inside because your internal world is what bleeds out to the external environment. Okay, you're not just having this comfortable, calm, you know, serenity living being inside of you, and then able to just point the finger out at everybody else. No, there's definitely internal work that needs to be done. So that's where these internal conversations we have, if we really want to like make things better for us, make the world a better format, we have to start with this internal work. And again, one of the first stepping stones to get there is the conversations we have with ourselves. How are we talking to ourselves? What commitments and decisions are we making that we might not be following through on? Again, if I say I'm going to get up and take the dog on a bike ride at X time early in the morning, frickin' do it. Who cares how tired you are, okay? Sleep is for the birds, which I don't think sleep that much. So get up and do it. If I'm going to go work out after work, or I'm going to decide, you know what, I need to read a book for 30 minutes a day, make that time, okay? But again, we get it all in this hoopla of like, well, I got this to do, I got this to do. You know what I mean? These senses of duty we have that get in the way of the promises and the commitments we've made to ourselves. You know, I never see any situation where somebody, helped another person out and said that duty made him do it. Okay. Now we have a duty to be responsible to individuals we live with, but it's never usually a duty that is the driving force. And I just keep dropping that word because somebody's going to like the word that I keep saying, duty. But duty is not the driving force. We we do this off a connection we have with other people. We do this off a connection we have with the human species. We do this from an internal pull, not from our own personal sense of duty. So push all the things that you think you need to get done aside, abandonment, and follow through on the things you said you would do. And when we start following the commitments we make to ourselves, again, lightening the load. Now the commitments that we've externalized, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll show up. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll help you out. Oh, man, it just becomes easier because we are forthright with ourselves. Therefore, everything we commit to, everything we say to individuals, we're being forthright because that's what we're teaching ourselves as individuals. So I'm not, again, this show, I'm still building it into something. I'm still figuring out where this is going, what conversations are being had, but I needed to get one out today. I needed to get a little time on the screen. I wanted to practice this recording, live stream, double split entendre that I'm in, and just give a little bit about that conversation I had earlier about these commitments, these decisions we make to ourselves, and how we need to follow through on them because we need to live up to the goals we set for ourselves. We need to live up to the standards we set for ourselves so that we can better live up to the standards and goals that we give of ourselves to other individuals. Okay, I'm going to cut it off there. I just, yeah, I'm not sure what else to say right now. So this is a shorter version. That's good. That's okay. Shorter versions can be good sometimes. My buddy too talked to me about maybe, cutting down some of the 45-minute ones so a little bit shorter, which I'm going to work on doing. So this is a start. Yesterday was 22 minutes. This is going to be, under 20 minutes, and we'll find a sweet spot. We'll find some conversations and practice, practice, practice. Okay. I appreciate everybody for showing up and being part of the dumtelligence that was today in the conversations we did not understand the knowing of the knowledge we had. Thank you.